So there we go.
Fantastic.
There's your MG4. I think you've picked the best colour, I have to say.
Yeah.
I think it looks really nice.
It's nice, yeah.
So there's your keys. Let's just have a quick walk round. I checked it this morning and when it came up the other morning on the overnight boat. I can't see any imperfections on it at all. Right, so quick introduction. This is Mr. Sandy Kerr, who is a professor at the Heriot-Watt University.
Yep.
You're sort of the more marine environment, but you also are involved in the community renewable aspect.
Yeah, I'm very interested in community benefits of renewable energy, and
Yes.
of course living in Orkney, how could you not be?
Exactly. It's the place for renewables. I met Sandy about 10 years ago when I first moved here, because we were both at the OREF meetings and events. That's the Orkney Renewable Energy Forum, when I first met Sandy. And of course, as you all know, I've always been a bit of an EV nerd and obviously banging on about EVs. And Sandy at the time said, well, you know, I like the idea, but here we are 10 years later, finally got him in an EV. Well, not through any influence from myself, but we were just saying briefly earlier, what's been your main motivating factor to purchase an EV now?
Well, I suppose it's always been on my agenda, but there's two things. I tend to run cars into the ground,
which is the most.
I'm not actually a very. I'm not a car enthusiast. I want something that works and is reliable, and as you say, it's actually the most environmentally friendly thing.
I've always said that is buy a car and run into the ground.
About
definitely.
10 years ago, a little bit less than 10 years ago, I was thinking about making a jump to electric then, but I'm completely relying on on-street charging.
Yes.
So what's happened in the meantime is that, well, a number of things. There's far more charging points. The cars themselves as well, it's just that bit of extra range. I know it's not going to be like filling a car up with petrol, but I need something that I'm not necessarily going to be able to charge it every day.
Yeah, and I think
that's important to me.
Yeah.
And I guess the technology's moved on so far. So yeah, about 8 years ago, I bought my last small petrol car. And run about in that. I've always bought small cars because of the carbon footprint thing. But I'm delighted to ditch petrol, that's for sure.
That's really, really good. So Sandy lives in Stromness, which is it's like the second town here on Orkney. You've got the main city town, which is Kirkwall, and then Stromness, where the boat comes in from Scrabster with Northlink. Beautiful place, but it dates from, 1700s. So there's lots of very tiny, old, compact cottages without any off-street parking because they were built 200 odd years ago. So you make a really good valid point that as much as people want to go into an EV, what often holds them back is the fact they haven't got off-street parking at their property. But as you said, Sandy, we've got lots of fast chargers in and around Heriot-Watt University campus, and also dotted around Orkney, run by Charge Place Scotland as well. MG4, great choice. I think this one looks fantastic in the blue, being the Trophy Long Range. This one has 1,613 miles on it from new, on a 23 plate. I made sure it was charged to 100% before today, and it's showing on the 𝐔𝐈𝐒 238 miles, which I think should just be about enough to get from here to Stromness and pick
it's
around
about
Stromness.
17 miles. Yeah.
Yes, got 17 miles to do till he gets back. So yeah, we're okay. We're good. Anyway, less of me waffling. I did ask Sandy. I said, "Well, have you driven an EV recently?" And he has, because he uses 𝐶𝐈𝐒, which is a car sharing scheme based through most of the UK. But here on Orkney, I think we've got 3 𝐶𝐈𝐒 EVs. 3 of which are the MG4. So you know your way around the MG4, don't you?
Yeah, that was quite useful actually. It was a good way to get to sort of play around with an electric car at kind of a moment in time.
Brilliant.
But it's also useful as well, just as it gives you access to a second car.
Yes.
And sometimes that's been handy. So it's a good thing. I'll probably keep that going actually.
Yeah, it is. I'll put a link in the description below about how to join 𝐶𝐈𝐒. So it's not just in Scotland and Orkney; they're UK wide, and it's a brilliant way of.
It's very easy.
It's very easy. With an RFID car, you book it on an app, and it's very, very cheap. You book it by the hour, and it covers everything: insurance, fuel, electricity, etc. Anyway, less of me waffling. You know how to drive an MG4, Sandy, so let's go for a spin. So yeah, there we go. It's great. I don't have to tell him how to make it move.
Into drive. I just need to remember there's no clutch.
Yes.
Keep my left foot firmly planted.
Now, what I used to say, and I still say, I've not done a demo for a long time, and I usually say this to strangers. If I see your left leg moving, I will touch your knee, which is a bit, you don't touch another bloke's knee, but it's amazing what our brains do. They automatically will go for the clutch because your brain says we're coming to a junction and we're about to stall, but I'm sure we'll be okay.
Where should we go?
Wherever you want. Yeah, if you want to go round, say, do the circuit, perhaps up the hill and back down to the island.
I think it's surprising that they're so easy to drive.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel I should be doing something with
Yeah. I did notice as well, when I looked into the menu, I came in this morning, the 𝐒𝐔𝐄 staff put it on charge last night, and I popped in this morning just to make sure it's charged, and it's stopped at 80%, because within the menu you can change the limit of it charging, which is quite useful.
Why would you not charge it?
So it's not good to charge any EV to 100% and then leave it for days on end.
Okay.
It's not good for the battery. As the same as it's not good to leave it at less than 10% for long periods of time.
So if you charge it to 100%, then use it a bit.
And use it a bit. Now, the benefit of setting a limiter on the menu is that you can set it to, well, any amount. I think it's from 60% upwards. You can change the charge limit. And it's a bit like the Tesla setup. There's some marks I'll show you later on the dash, on the display, that says use this amount for daily use, but if you want to do a trip, you can then move the slider to fill it to 100%. It's just good because you keep your cars for a long time, which is very environmentally friendly.
Battery,
long term, you don't need 100% every time you wake up in the morning, because here on Orkney, 222 miles, 23 miles.
Can I get you anywhere several times?
Yeah. So that's a good feature on this. It's basically, in my layman's terms, you remember old pencil batteries? If you had a torch and the torch went really dim and went really yellow, I remember as a kid taking the batteries out and rubbing them between my hands to make the batteries warm. And you pop back in and you'd suddenly be glowing again. So in my layman's terms, and someone will probably correct me on YouTube, if you charge to 100% and leave it for days on end, and we suddenly have a warm period, there's nowhere for the extra electricity to go, and that's what will damage the battery.
That's a nice way of thinking about it, even if it's not factually true. It might be. You might be right.
And the reverse is true. If a battery is very low and we suddenly get a drop in temperature,
it can take it.
They call it brick. There's none in reserve, and you end up totally draining the battery, which is not good for it. So the happy state for most electronic devices, not just EVs, is between 20 and 80%.
Right.
Now, I still see on social media people being petrified of charging over 80%. It's fine as long as you use it within a couple of days. Then you won't do any damage. It's leaving it 100% for weeks on end is not a good thing to do.
Interesting. See, the lane assist is being switched off.
Yeah, so you can turn it off and on.
I quite like it off.
Yeah, a lot of people find it.
In Orkney with the quite smaller roads, so you get that funny nudge.
Yeah.
I guess if you're driving on the motorway, it's probably very handy for long trips, just to make sure you're not nodding off. So
the later ones, of which this is, they had software updates, because the early MG4s were bing and bong constantly. But as they've gone through time, the later ones have had better software updates that stop that happening. In fact, in here we've got the old V5. I know the staff have registered it to you online and taxed it before today.
Yeah, I got the email.
Excellent. So this is the old V5 here, and it was registered the 26th of May 2023. and it's an ex-Arval vehicle, so it was an ex-personal contract hire. Now I can hear some people saying, well, you know, why has it been returned? There must be something wrong with it. Well, a variety of reasons why lease cars get returned early. The business may have lost the employee. Circumstances may have changed for the person that was leasing this, and so it's returned to the leasing company. So there's never anything to be suspicious about on a practically brand new EV that's being sold at auction. It's common practice.
Very easy.
Excellent. So what, do you want to drive back around the front to pick your wife up? You can do if you want, or you
can do. Maybe got a couple of questions.
Okay, yeah, no, far away.
But I don't know what you.
So when you want to bring it to a stop, press P for park.
P for parking.
And then the handbrake will come on automatically.
Yeah. So, and do you know about the? Because there's a warranty.
Yeah.
Do you know? Do I need to? Does the fact that it's changed owner, do I need to register that with them?
No. Okay. No. So they go on the date of registration, which any MG dealer will get it from off the registration plate.
Okay.
So it's from the day it was registered is when the warranty starts.
Right, okay, so I don't have to do anything.
Nothing at all.
And I guess the thing I should probably have asked about before I plumped for this particular vehicle was, but servicing and so on. Is there what? Do you know what the requirements are for the warranty? Does it require that I service it with an MG dealer?
No.
No, okay.
Basically, I'll put a link in above on the service I had done on my Kia e-Niro and the Nissan Leaf I had. Basically, it's called block exemption,
right.
And it was a rule that came in Europe, even though we're out of the EU, it still applies. It came in mid-90s, whereby it stops manufacturers scaring customers by saying, you've got to bring it back to us for a service or you'll invalidate the warranty.
Do you hear that?
If you, as long as you take it to any recognised garage that's VAT registered and is a proper garage, that will give you a VAT receipt, and they use the manufacturer's approved parts, talking about internal combustion engine cars, that's the correct oil, the correct oil filters, the correct air filters, spark plugs, cam belts, fuel pump filters, but which doesn't apply to an EV. But as long as they've used approved parts and stamp the book and make a record of it and carry out the schedule the manufacturer said, that does not invalidate the warranty from any car manufacturer. Now, they don't want you to know that because that's where franchise dealers make their money.
Yeah.
So here on Orkney, any reputable garage, 𝐇𝐎𝐿's have got some EV trained technicians as well as Conrad, CSO man in Stromness.
That's useful.
So I've always taken my cars to Conrad, just a personal choice because we have a good natter about EVs when we get together. Doesn't invalidate the warranty.
Excellent. Okay, because that's good news.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now the drive modes are how quick it will accelerate.
Yeah.
So sport is really sensitive, normal. Eco I quite like in most EVs. It reduces the throttle input slightly, increases the regen slightly, and turns down the heating ever so slightly just to maximise your range. It will also change the 𝐷𝐄𝐿 miles. So if I put you in normal, you see it goes at 98%. We were showing 233.
Okay.
In sport, 221, and again it tells you at the bottom of the screen what mode you're in. But to be honest, I like Eco. It's not quite so nippy off the line, but you get used to it.
Oh, yeah.
Snow mode, I don't quite know what that is. I think it might dull the drive even more so you don't spin the wheels. I'll be honest, I don't know what snow mode is.
It's probably all it could be, isn't it?
Automatic high beam basically means if you're driving home and you've got main beam on, when a car is coming the other way, it will automatically dip without you having to do it.
Yeah.
Take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, but it's just in case you forget.
Yeah. I'll find my car. Response. Flashing and all. I think that's when you want to...
It must be when you hit the button in a car park or something.
Yes.
I think I'll spot this car.
Yeah. Auto hold. Oh, that's interesting. So auto hold I quite like. So if you sat at a junction and you're in drive and you've got your foot on the brake, like any automatic, when you lift your foot off the brake, it will creep. So auto hold basically means when you put your foot on the brake, and it can be indicated on the dash if this is on.
It just doesn't creep.
It doesn't creep, and you hover your foot over the throttle. As soon as you touch the throttle, it releases the handbrake and allows you to drive off. So it's almost like a hill start hold, which I find quite useful.
Okay.
So so this is the ability to change the maximum state of charge. So basically, just drag it back with your finger. So between 40 and 80% is the happy state to leave a car for any length of time. And then if you want to go on a long journey, you can just obviously drag it up to 100%. And now, because we've now switched to eco mode, it's now showing at 100%. We'll have 250 mile, 249 mile range. But yeah, for Orkney, before you go south, if you're going south, put it to 100%. If you're just on Orkney, just leave it at 80. Yeah, so I'll put a link in above as to my quick reference guide as to how to charge what's called a CCS vehicle, which is what this is, stands for Combined Charging System with a rapid charger. And that will talk you through how to do it. But in over the next few days, when you're down to like 50%, give me a shout if you're in Stromness, and I'll meet you at a rapid and just talk you through how to use a rapid charger. So the fast chargers will charge this at a rate of around 25 miles added for every 1 hour it's plugged in. And then the rapid charge will add around about 80, 90 miles for every 1 hour, even at just 50 kilowatts. If you were to pull up to a 100 kilowatt charger, you're talking 35 minutes.
And those chargers at the Academy, the Charge Place Scotland ones, you get 3 hours, is that right?
Yes. I do believe Charge Place Scotland and Orkney Islands Council, if you plug in after 6 p.m. right through till 8 a.m, they won't charge you any overstay fees.
Oh, okay. So you can get a bigger charge then?
Yeah.
So basically with that 3 hours, I'm going to get about 75 miles on one of those chargers. Yeah. Or I use one of the ones down on the seafront with a rapid.
With a rapid, yes.
A rapid,
yeah.
Okay. Right, that's all.
But if you're within walking distance of a Charge Place Scotland rapid, fast charger, plug in after 6 p.m.
Okay.
And then the car will probably be full by, it depends what state of charge you turn up at, but if you pull up with 20% and you plugged in at 6 p.m, I'd say by 4 a.m, perhaps 10 hours later, you'd be full. But you wouldn't have incurred any overstay fees because it's overnight.
That's for 6, yeah. That's going to work easily.
Yeah.
Well, that'll work. I live very close by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, you've just got the coolant for the inverter and the battery, which you never have to touch. There's a lot of leaf in there. There's a leaf and an MG. They all need coming out.
Somewhere with an oak tree.
We don't get many trees on Orkney, so there we go. But yeah, the only reason to lift the bonnet is for the screen wash.
Okay.
Just pop in there.
Excellent. And just so I know, that's
your 12-volt battery.
So that runs the wipers, the electrics, the conventional electrics.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that actually starts the car. Now, if that's ever flat, even if you've got a full charge in the battery,
you can't start the car.
You can't start the car.
Right.
So that, on most EVs, is still the Achilles heel, to be honest. Although Tesla have started bringing out lithium-ion 12-volt batteries, which have a far longer shelf life than lead-acid ones.
Okay. Right.
All right. So in the other quarter, we've got the charging flap.
Let's just...
That's it. So the top one is for your fast charge cable or charging at home, and the bottom one is to uncover the bottom two, which means you can use the CCS rapid charge connector.
It's the whole lot, is it?
Which is the whole lot.
Okay.
It's called CCS because it combines DC with the AC charger at the top.
Okay.
So it's all in one connection.
And I wonder what they use for. Okay, you need an adapter.
Yeah, it just goes on there. That's it.
Okay. It's That's great.
So thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
I'm really glad that I finally got you in an EV after 10 years, but
Yeah.
you've done the most eco-friendly thing, is just running a car into the ground. But great to see you in an MG4 Trophy. I'll say it again, in the best colour. So look forward to seeing you around Orkney on the roads.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, you take care. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
So what are the extra fees on top of a hammer price of an EV that we'll buy to order for you? Well, look at this example of a £10,000 electric vehicle. Depending which auction house we bought from, these are the fees as of December 2023 with BCA, Aston Barclay and Shoreham based on a £10,000 hammer price. The other fees are our search fee. We charge £100 plus VAT, and then we will source a EV that suits your requirements and what you've asked for, and then if we're successful in bidding and buying a vehicle for you, these are the fees we charge on top. So on a £10,000 car from Aston Barclay, there's the fees plus our fee. The total would be £10,726, and this can be explained for any of the auction houses to you when you call. The other extras is of course transport. We buy all over the country, and we have customers all over the country, and we'll also tax and register the car with DVLA for you as well. Many of our good friends have used our service, and so you can either collect yourself or ask us to arrange transportation.